And for those that don't know, why don't you share with us a little bit more about exactly what your mission is with Lancaster City Alliance?
Sure, and thanks so much for the opportunity and having me on today. One thing I want people to know is Lancaster City Alliance is a nonprofit based in Lancaster City. We are focused on quality of life in the city, and we want to ensure that Lancaster is a clean, safe, and vibrant city for everyone. And that kind of sums us up. And you're free to ask questions on what all that means.
What is the Building on Strength plan?
Sure, that is the community and economic development plan for the city of Lancaster. And what that means is it's a 15-year plan that was developed by the community. It's the city's plan, and the Lancaster City Alliance oversees it and kind of makes sure all of the recommendations in the plan are being implemented. So for 15 years, we're responsible for making sure that this plan happens. And you've probably heard the term before, but it's kind of like we do the herding of the cats. So people are really into the plan and they work really well with it. But the Lancaster City Alliance makes sure it continues on its path to success.
So you mentioned 15 years. When did that start?
It was, those are the types of things, 2015. It started and it'll run till 2030.
Very cool.
That is very cool. By my observation, I would say you are well underway.
You know,
from
before
what I see downtown going on.
Yeah, thank you. Before COVID and even through it, for the 15-year plan, several of the goals we have already reached. Just 5 years into the plan. And then as COVID hit, we were a little worried. We were like, oh boy, are we going to lose momentum? And of course, everyone lost a little momentum with everything, but the plan was not derailed. And in fact, we're kind of reinvigorated and seeing the plan through. And I think if you don't mind, I'll tell you a few little highlights of the plan. I don't know if you had a specific question about that, but I can tell you the plan is focused on recruiting entrepreneurs. We want talented people to invest and set up business here. We want good development in the city. We want, when people want to set up shop, we want them to do it in a way that benefits them and the community, and that they set up shop in the right place in the city. We look to market the city in a way that attracts visitors and people to settle here. And we're cultivating entrepreneurs. So those big ideas and people like Chris who can turn an underutilized building into something very special like Decades. We want to see more of that in Lancaster.
Yeah, we can kind of speak to that, maybe not through your efforts with the City Alliance, but when we opened Gardeners, when we bought Gardeners from Jim Gardner, we utilized, it was the library on it's not the Small Business Administration, but what am I thinking of? SCORE. There we go.
Oh, yes. Wonderful organization.
We utilized that organization. And, at the time I was on my own as a business owner for 10 years prior. Gardeners was an extension, parallel career path, if you will. And I learned a lot from SCORE, even after 10 years of business ownership. And I know, Ben, you learned a lot too, even after managing Gardeners for 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, it was a crash course in business ownership and how to get a business started, funding plan, all of that. It was great to have that opportunity.
Yeah, yeah.
They are wonderful. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And did you guys know that SCORE won like Chapter of the Year about 2 years ago? So SCORE is a nationwide organization. Yep, and they're the best there is here, just in Lancaster, best in the nation.
Yep. Yeah, they should have. I mean, obviously that's 2 years ago, was 8 years after we utilized them. But I can only imagine the folks that were there. They had such a passion for it. A level of care to see people succeed. So that's great. And, things like what you do with the Alliance, I mean, it really makes a lot of sense. You don't want to have things open up that are poor. I live, so I was moved to the Lancaster County when I was a child. I now actually live in Sinking Springs, so just across the Lancaster border. That's my wife's family is all from there, and I see the 25 years of, well, not 25 years, but 20 years, I guess, of being in and around Berks County and doing business in Lancaster County. It's interesting to look at the two cities, Reading and Lancaster, and when you share this plan, this 15-year plan, what did we call that again?
Building
on
Strength.
Strength plan. When you look at that, it kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. Reading is really having a struggle. And it would seem to me as though the focus was just on 20 years ago, shopping. Well, when we look back in history, what has transformed shopping like nothing else in the last 20 years? Amazon.
Right.
So when the basis of a city success has been Amazon, it's not hard to understand now why it's been a struggle. And without a great alliance guiding it, it's why it's almost like Lancaster and Reading flip-flopped. Because back 20 years ago, you could do a lot of great things in the city of Reading. Now, maybe not so much. At least from my perspective, I live in that area.
Right.
And I'll talk about it a little later. Walking around downtown last week, it was very nice. Very nice experience. So kudos to you with what we're doing with the Alliance. Let's talk about the underserved areas. What exactly do we mean by that?
Sure. And I want to be very clear, as thriving and as exciting as Lancaster is, we're not perfect. And there are neighborhoods that are underserved. And what that means is for many, many years, investment has not happened in those neighborhoods. Maybe the sidewalks are crumbling, or the street lights aren't what they used to be, or there's excessive trash, or just, those things. The quality of life maybe isn't there as it is in other areas of the city. So as much as we love to focus on shopping and restaurants and dining and all the fun, the Lancaster City Alliance also focuses on neighborhoods, and we work closely with city government to ensure that we are beginning to invest in those neighborhoods and make sure that everyone in Lancaster City has the opportunity to succeed. And some of those investments, what that looks like is placing trash cans on sidewalks, planting trees, and some of the photos that were coming up on screen, facade improvements, improving the front of properties, including working front doors, working windows, downspouts, repointing of brick. Whenever you're able to make those basic property investments, that enhances neighborhood pride. Businesses want to set up there. People want to be in those areas. And there's a before and after picture of one of the facades. So let me be clear, though, those changes are changes that are taking place that are needed. Everyone deserves a good front door. Everyone deserves working windows and downspouts. We're not taking properties and changing the element of the neighborhood, but just making an investment in a community so that the people who are already living there have the opportunity to thrive.
What's the bigger picture of all of these small things that you do in a particular area of town? What's the bigger picture there?
I guess the bigger picture is, I would sum it up as quality of life. So everyone just deserves a chance to live a high quality of life. And if you're not investing in some of these neighborhoods, then they fall behind. And we certainly don't want that in Lancaster. We're known to be a welcoming community, and we want to make sure that if you want to live in Lancaster, if you want to visit Lancaster, or you want to do business in Lancaster, you have the opportunity to do it well and have the best impact. So we try and set up those small things so that others can succeed.
So I'm going to throw a little bit. Maybe it's a curveball, maybe not. Maybe you'll hit it out of the park, so to say. So
We'll see. I'm up for the
one thing
challenge.
yeah. We know. Well, I know, and I'm sure you know. Lancaster is voted as like one of the top 5, I believe it is, best places to retire.
Mm-hmm.
Right, in the country. Am I correct in that top 5?
Yes. I think it bounces around. Yeah, it's up there. Let's just say top 5.
So, and whenever an article comes out about more, another retirement building, retirement home being built, from your perspective, what do you see? Is there a net benefit there? Is it neutral to what your goals are? How does that dovetail in, and what does it mean for the 15-year plan? What does it mean for the 30-year plan?
Well, that's why we have a plan, because as part of our plan, there's specific areas in the city, because of the plan, have been designated as places that can house a new retirement home. You don't want to put a retirement home in maybe a certain neighborhood it doesn't belong there. It isn't helpful to the neighbors. But the plan has already designated, retirement homes or these corridors would fit this type of business or this type of opportunity. So those places that are coming into the city that you may read about, where they are being placed is intentional to benefit the community in the best way, and potentially leave the neighborhoods intact. So I think that it's a balance, right? Everyone is welcome here, whether it's a retirement home or a young family or people of color or refugees. We want to see everyone to be able to thrive. So a retirement home, as long as it's in the right type of place for the city, that is considered a good investment.
And again, I don't mean to put you on the spot, so I'm just ask the question because
Sure.
This is one of the things that's interesting to me. We try to weave a little Seinfeld into each episode if we can. So this is our city planning tie-in. I want to be a city planner, the kid that came for the scholarship. Anyway, but have you as the Alliance been able to say no? That kind of development, maybe it's not retirement home, just doesn't fit the plan. Has the Alliance been able to have enough teeth, I guess, to say that's not meeting the goal, that's not meeting what we've all agreed to? How's that? Has anything like that come up that you could share?
Well, I can't think of a specific example, but I think I do want to still answer the question. The really fun thing and the unique thing about Lancaster that maybe isn't happening in other communities is that our ability to work together. So it wouldn't just be the Alliance saying no, but other organizations like the City of Lancaster, so city government, us, Economic Development Company of Lancaster, maybe the Spanish American Civic Association. All of the organizations kind of work together to ensure that the right type of development is happening. And of course, all of these projects have to pass city council and maybe depending on like the historic commission. So there's checks and balances throughout the system and many different organizations working to influence the right type of development. So I guess as I'm answering this question and thinking more about it, I don't know that we would ever get to a situation where it's like a no. I think there's enough checks and balances in place that we would never get to that point. We would all be working together to kind of influence the best outcomes for the people and the organization that's looking to do business.
Well, I mean, right there, I mean, that's why our city is thriving.
Right. I mean, and I think that's the answer.
It's not a totalitarian answer where this one entity can say this or that. It's everybody's on the same page, pulling in the same direction, which is powerful in any aspect of life.
Right. And don't forget, there's a plan. I mean, the Building on Strength plan gives us that vision to know what's needed and where. So yeah, it's a big community effort.
And you've won some accolades for that. our producers told us that you've been recognized for doing this plan, executing this plan better than most. Is that right? Somebody from the New York
Yeah.
Times?
Yeah, the Thomas Friedman of the New York Times wrote an article 3 years ago now. It came out in July, and it highlighted Lancaster. And again, it's not just Lancaster City Alliance, but many organizations across the city as unique in the entire United States for our ability to get the job done and work together, despite political differences or just, there aren't really like turf wars here, or people aren't territorial. I think we understand that in order to achieve the vision and the goal and the greater good, we have to work together. And the New York Times highlighted us for it. So that was a really fun perspective on our city and our community as a whole.
Yep.
That's fantastic. And how is the Alliance funded?
We are a nonprofit, so we are funded by local corporations and also by individuals. So, the extra give, lots of people donate to us during that exciting day in our community, but we also work with our corporate partners because as we see it, if you are doing business in Lancaster City, we're here to make sure your business thrives. I like to use the example, the Lancaster General Health, the hospital, is a big supporter of us for several different reasons. They like to make sure that the community around the hospital is a welcoming place. If you're coming to the hospital, you want to be able to do it easily and feel safe and secure. And the Lancaster City Alliance, along with many others, plays a role in that. But as far as like business recruiting and talent, again, the hospital is a great example of this. They want to bring in the most talented physicians and medical team, and that benefits us all. When there's good doctors in our community, we all benefit from that. And you can recruit talented physicians by knowing that they're coming to settle and set up shop in a community that is thriving and exciting, because they're competing with towns and cities across the country to recruit talented medical staff. And it's our job to make sure Lancaster is a great place for them to want to do business here.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the show we're on here, Lancaster Connects. I mean, It's really about, we launched this effort because it's about helping the community that supports our business. So as a business operator in this city, we feel it's important to give back in this way, shine light on organizations like yours, maybe even smaller organizations, maybe larger ones, but use this platform to let the community know all that's out there. One of those ways, again, the Lancaster Connects community is about having people who may not have the means to donate financially, but have time, help these organizations, help charities that we highlight. You have ways that people can help out. We've talked about trees and trash cans, various aspects of city blocks and upkeep. How can people connect with you that way if they're willing to donate their time and, roll up their sleeves?
Mm-hmm. I think one of the easiest ways for people to get involved, other than making sure they're always shopping and dining in Lancaster City, is by thinking about, again, quality of life and litter pickup. We offer the Adopt a Block program, and as you can see on the screen, street trash receptacles. These trash receptacles are bolted to the sidewalk, and they just help, when receipts are flying out of your pocket or your gum wrapper or whatever, there's a trash can nearby and you can make sure it gets in the can as opposed to tumbling down the sidewalk. And so people can adopt these trash cans. You can also sponsor a trash can. You can see this sponsor logos there as well as our logo. So you can adopt a trash can if you live in the city. It can be placed near your home or your business. Business owners can adopt a trash can as well. And that just helps keep the area around your home or business clean. And because, a city is a high traffic area, so litter happens. And having lots of trash cans around just makes it a lot cleaner. It's better for the environment, and it's better for the visual aspect of living and being in the city.
Yeah. So I mean, listen, if you're a business owner listening to this, adopt the block, adopt the trash can. You saw the signs. If you watch this as a video cast TV show, you saw the signs. I believe it was Lancaster County Waste Management and High Foundation. Obviously, we saw the Alliance sign, but again, just a way to get your name out there and do good at the same time. Obviously, being in a city, you're going to get a lot of eyeballs on it. So that's a great initiative to kind of blend corporate stewardship with giving back to the community and helping the community. So I like that a lot.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that plug.
You touched on the adopt a block thing. Obviously, adopt a trash can is pretty self-explanatory. How does that work? How do you adopt a block?
So there is an application process which the Lancaster City Alliance can help you with. And as you can see in the picture there's an Adopt a Block sign, and it's kind of small, but it says sponsored by the Young family, and there is the Young family. So you get your own sign. You get to choose your block. Maybe it's close to your home or business or somewhere else in the city. And you get gloves and trash pickers and some trash bags, and you're committed to picking up litter on your block twice a year. But although we recommend you do that more frequently, I know talking with the Young family, they do it on the opposite weeks that there is the city trash cleaners come through. So they're very dedicated to keeping their block clean. But it's a free service. You get your sign. So business owners, there's a little free advertising as well. And you get recognized by city council for being good members of your community. And then, of course, just an opportunity to get outside and do a good thing.
And do we understand it correctly that the Adopt a Trash Can program involves a local emptying the trash cans themselves?
Yes. So if you are the one to adopt the trash can, it is your responsibility to, that lid just slides off and you pull out the trash bag and you put it with your own trash. And it's okay to do that.
Very cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that's very nice. Well, we appreciate your time, and considering that you are a nonprofit entity, that qualifies you for our weekly donation. So we have a little small donation we give to all the charities, all the organizations that come on the show, just as a little way of saying thank you for your time and putting forward your efforts. So it's $125. We'll donate that to you happily. And we really am grateful that you've joined us. I learned a lot. I hope our listeners learned a lot. Yeah. I think, look at the big picture is the takeaway here. And I think you're executing that fabulously as far as your building the strength plan goes. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much. This is unexpected and I really appreciate it. And I've enjoyed your insight into what makes Lancaster great and having this conversation with you. So thank you. You guys are like my new favorite Lancaster City business.
Well, great. Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. Well, we appreciate you. I mean, again, it's kind of nice here. Episode 11, I was trying to think what it is. There it is on the screen. Episode 11. We started this endeavor and I wrote about it last night on my social media channels. I know what the goal line is like. And that is to provide a platform for our community to better highlight our community and make a better connection. I didn't know exactly how we'll get there. I'm a jump off the high dive, fill the pool later kind of guy.
You are?
Yeah. There's many aspects within the four walls here that speak to that. But it's very cool to have you on the show as a part of this. We really do believe that helping our community that supports our business is important for us to be here long term. And I hope anybody listening to this gets that too. And, it can start small. I mean, if it's just adopting the trash can, that's a way to start. I mean, and that's the hardest thing, right? Just starting. And once you're in motion, things become so much easier.
Yep, you're exactly right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yep. Remember, this show is also available as a podcast. You can find the links at lancasterconnects.com. Please like and share this video. Leave a comment. Tell a friend about this show. We would greatly appreciate that. There on the screen, you can see the various podcast icons. So it might remind you, oh, yeah, I listened to that one. Search up Lancaster Connects in that one. We'll get you square.